Today we're talking banned Pioneer cards. Oh, what a way to start this thing off with Oko Thief of Crowns. How powerful are these banned Pioneer cards? Because in Pioneer, they created a really large aggressive ban list, and some of them were I mean, there were a lot of powerful cards on that list, but some of them didn't make any sense. But, you know, it was a new format, and they were aggressively shaking things up. So how powerful are these things? How about you, Oko, Thief of Crowns? Do you deserve to be on the ban list? Now, like most people, even in Standard, thought that this wasn't going to be anything. Sure, people moaned and groaned over another 3-mana Planeswalker, but are like, +2 to make a food? What do food do? +1 target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk. That's a 3/3. And then you go -5, exchange control of target artifact or creature you control, and target creature an opponent controls only with power 3 or less. What's going on here? This can't be good, said everybody. And then this card, of course, actually ended up getting banned everywhere. I mean, it barely has a home. It's a home in Vintage. And I guess Commander, wherever. There's always a home. There's a home for everybody in Commander. And actually, okay, this card is so good that it won a Vintage tournament by turning a Black Lotus into an elk and then attacking for 3. It was incredible. I remember when people thought Eldraine was going to be a low-power snooze fest of a set. Holy crap, did that take not age well at all, period. This is the hero the Pioneer needs right now. I have no idea under what circumstance you could ever unban Oko. So, I mean, the main problem of Oko in every format that it's played is, first off, it's by default a 6 loyalty Planeswalker. Actually, it's at least 5 loyalty. This ability of turning creatures into 3/3s is stupidly powerful. So if your opponent has like a 6/6 creature out, you just play Oko +1, turn it into a 3/3. Oko is a 5/5. Okay, now you're not going to kill Oko anymore. Not going to happen. But very often what happens is you can play this thing by turn 2. You know, if you're Llanowar Elves, you know, that's a pretty powerful card. Actually, what are all the mana ramp in Pioneer? Llanowar Elves, staple since beta. Also very, very big card in Pioneer. Some argue actually the mono green Pioneer decks are overpowered because they've got the mana dorks. They're the only ones with the mana ramp. What I just found out is Oko is banned in Legacy. You just found that out. It's right. It's exactly what they did. And they banned it in Pioneer. It didn't live long. It was very funny. It got banned almost instantly in Standard. Instant. Like, it didn't survive a month. No one even wanted to show up to the tournaments with Oko in them. And then people are all asking, is this going to be fine in Pioneer? Is this going to be fine in Modern? Oh, it has to be fine in Legacy. And then one by one, Oko gets banned in Pioneer, banned in Modern, and then banned in Legacy. Yeah, you can like ramp this guy out on turn 2, and then it's impossible. It's just impossible to deal with. You make the food token, turn 2, before your opponent has done anything, and then all of a sudden you're creating an elk army, because the food... Can we get a food up here? For anyone who doesn't know what a food is, that's food chain. I want food token. Give me a... You're not gonna give me a food token? There we go. That's a food. Pay, you know, you get an artifact that pays 2, tap, sacrifice the artifact, gain 3 life. No, I mean, hey, the life is not nothing. Hey, the life is not nothing. Its life is something. Made the burn players groan. But anyway, it goes straight to 6 loyalty, and it can go higher. Goes to 8, goes to 10. What are you gonna do about it? And the whole making an elk thing, the loyalty keeps going up. It doesn't go down. How can you defend? How can you overpower this thing when it's making artifacts, making a defense of making an elk army single-handedly, while the loyalty keeps ticking up over and over and over again? Are we ever going to get to a modern where Oko can get the Jace the Mind Sculptor treatment? Very unlikely. It's just it gets way too big, way too quickly out of control. Like, if you can guarantee this will not see play by turn 2, then maybe, but very unlikely. Like, the card is just broken. It should have been like +1 make a food, -1 make an turn things into elks. The fact that it just pluses for eternity is just beyond stupid. Gotta be Teferi next. The difference between this and Teferi, and a lot of people think Teferi's gonna get banned too. Talking about Teferi Time Raveler. The difference between this and Teferi is Teferi goes down. -3, return up to 1 target creature, artifact, creature, enchantment to its owner's hand, and draw a card. At that point, Teferi is vulnerable, alright? Used up all his power. He's a little weak. You can finish him off. Here, it never happens with Oko. Never happens. And a -5 might as well be useless. Oko can basically win the game by itself with the +2 and +1 abilities. If you want to see it in action, I mean, there's probably tons of gameplay, like on YouTube or something, of Oko just dominating Magic the Gathering. And you can look at any format. It's just Oko comes out, food token, make an elk, food token, make an elk. Oh, turn your thing into an elk. And that was a big thing. Your mana can't scale. Like, you can if you put a 3 mana card on the battlefield, 4 mana, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 10 mana creature, it just turns into a 3/3. So no matter how like, it has to have haste and trample or something to get some value out of it before the Oko turns it to an elk and you become part of the elk army. Can we just get a new format that just banned cards? Yeah, it's called Vintage. Welcome to Vintage, where you can play with anything and everything. There are no the only banned cards here are like the anti cards and some dexterity cards. The only catch is that cards are restricted to 1, so that the format can show some semblance of playability. Is Oko legal in Commander? Yes, because nobody cares about Commander, and probably it doesn't matter in that format. Okay, Oko, you're gonna defend yourself versus 3 other people? Good luck. Oko dies to counterspell and well, there's not a lot of removal for planeswalkers. And there's not even a lot of burn spells that can hit Oko. I think by today... Actually, you know what? By today's standards, Oko would die more easily. Because, Unholy Heat. Unholy Heat can kill an Oko. There was no Unholy Heat at the time of Throne of Eldraine. Unholy Heat was made to kill Oko. Unholy Heat. Maybe they were making it while, maybe they were making this card while Eldraine was legal. Oh my god, we gotta do something about this Oko. Alright, let's make Unholy Heat. It'll get printed in 2 years. Does Alchemy have Oko? I think they adjusted it. I think they adjusted... Let's see. Oko, Thief of Crowns. How did they fix it? Oh, maybe no. Maybe it's not legal, sorry. Okay, they didn't even try to fix it. It's not legal in Alchemy. Not there. They're like, F it, you can't fix this thing. It's unfixable. Oko was the chosen one! He was supposed to bring balance to the format, not ruin it. I mean, depending on board state quality, Radiant Champion can be absolutely massive turn 1. Well, yeah, it depended on the board state. But Oko was above and beyond stupid. Turn 2 Oko was always my favorite. Oh, they had some great... Everyone had some great sayings about it. Like, if you moose my goose, we're gonna get loose. I think the content creator Merchant said that. Oh, Pyroblast kills Oko. That's true. Pyroblast kills Oko. Maybe this card's more balanced than we thought. Maybe we have the answers. He's really hot, sadly. Well, yep. And very arrogant, if you like that. If you like that personality sort of thing. And he's very bold. He's a thief. Thief of Crowns. Maybe if the first ability was +1 and the second one -1, it would be fine. It would be completely fine. Oh my god, if any of these minused at all, you go -1 to make food, +1. No, I think the +1 to make elks cannot be a +1. So if it was +1 make food, -1 Oko would be probably a staple of Modern. It would be a staple. It'd still be a very good card. It'd be a very, very... Oh, by the way, did I mention that the turning things into an elk is permanent? Is that it's permanent? When I first read this card in spoiler season, I thought it was until end of turn. No, this is happening forever. It's not going away. Emrakul was just a 3/3 elk, after all. Oko turned a Black Lotus into an elk in one vintage tournament. He is a legend. It is. I think that was the most legendary victory of Oko. There was a picture of it on social media, but there was no video of it. Too bad. Or not that I know of. Even if it was +0 for elks, it'd be too good. Yes. Again, but I don't understand why people couldn't understand why this was such a strong ability. Like at spoiler season, people are like, this card is like, no, whatever. It's no big deal. But it just, very often people are like, Beast Within is not a good card. Why would you want to play Beast Within? Because that's what people compared it to. Nobody plays Beast Within. Green 2 generic. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. But the thing is, Beast Within for 3 mana. Well, hey, okay, let me put it this way. Beast Within for 3 mana, not exciting. Then we have like Rapid Hybridization, which is destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. That creature's controller gets a 3/3 green frog lizard. Okay, Beast Within for 1 mana, getting more exciting. This card actually saw good play in Standard at the time. And now Oko Thief of Crowns, Beast Within for 0 mana, bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So, I mean, like, every single deck played... I mean, if you could, you would play Oko Thief of Crowns and Pioneer and just slowly, like every other format, no one could deal with it and just dominated. Well, let's just wait for the format to adjust. And it didn't adjust! It adjusted towards more Okos, and they had to finally get rid of... They got rid of him. He got banned. So how powerful is this? Okay, so now here's the question. How powerful is Oko Thief of Crowns? It is debated that this is the most Actually, it's not really debated. This is the most powerful Planeswalker ever printed. It was called out very quickly by Sam Black. Sam called it most powerful Planeswalker ever. Sam was right. Sam was right. This is the best Planeswalker they ever made. And doesn't come close. At least in 1v1 games. In Commander. I don't know what the most powerful Planeswalker is. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Something that's like a prison-like card, like Teferi, might be the best. Approaching Calamity. My least favorite commander removal are things that leave on board, but remove abilities. I can't often remove my own commander. Oh, yeah. Oh, then that really sucks, too. This sucks for the commander players. You put the commander out, turn into an elk. All right, you have no abilities. And now you have to kill your commander somehow. Term is busted, even with more powerful than Ren and 6. Yes, more powerful than Ren and 6. Ren and 6 is annoying. Ren and 6, we'll just say Ren and 6 is really, really, really annoying. And Ren and 6 is powerful in its own right, but Ren and 6 usually doesn't, like, Ren and 6 is not like a win condition in itself. Oko is a win condition. Yeah, he pretty danger. It danger. I knew that this thing it danger the moment it came into existence. I snapped that up. It's just, if you were any deck that played blue, you had to splash green. If you were any deck that played green, you had to splash blue. As simple as that. Even Liliana the Veil is a bomb at 3. That's hard enough as it is. That +2 is insane. It just rubs it in even hard that this is a green card. And very easy to cast. Like, why do they make it just a single green? Why isn't it like double blue and a green? To at least make the mana requirement a little bit harder. Yeah, so if anyone was looking for more pushed Simic cards, because Simic was supposed to be the big funsy color, or the big funsy guild, it is not really serious for competitive play. This is it. And also, there was a nice argument on Twitter once about it's hard to make a balanced Simic card. I don't know if this qualifies, but Simic can be like big into card draw and big creatures. It's hard to balance those things. Because if you give them an inch, they go like a mile. You gotta be careful with the Simic. It's gotta keep it clunky and funsy to be fair. Dick Hammerbush. I stick with the idea that the +1 was a typo and Wizards of the Coast just can't admit when they made a mistake. So, I mean, the story goes, or legend goes, that this card was, what's it called? The exchange part, the exchange ability was too powerful, and they had to make a last-minute errata to this card, and they didn't really play test it with it enough. Basically, they play tested it enough to find out that this exchange ability was busted. They're like, we gotta change this. This is like way too good. And whatever changes they made last minute, they obviously didn't play test enough with this. They knew it was like going to be one of the golden cards, so they're like, it's probably fine. It's okay. And they just let it slide. So anyway, that's the story of Oko Thief of Crowns, and outrageously too powerful for Pioneer. Now we're gonna look at more banned Pioneer cards. We gotta thank our sponsors, FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite place to buy my Magic cards. You know, where do you think I built my Pauper Fairies deck? It was all at FusionGamingOnline.com. If you're watching this around Black Friday, there's going to be a sale from November 18th to 24th, pre-Black Friday sale. Do you notice a lot of the stores are doing that? They're like, hey, come shop at our place. I was like shopping at Best Buy the other day. It's like, hey, like the deals are around now, so don't have to wait. Spend your money before you don't have any. It's basically how it is. Get your sealed products, singles, deck boxes, and, you know, all that good stuff. And don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. See, that's how you support the channel. And you support yourself because you get 5% off all your purchases. And we're going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. And if you want to get into Pioneer and you're afraid cards are going to get banned, well, it is the ban list saver. Because when you're renting the decks on Magic Online, you don't own them. And when the cards get banned, you send those banned cards back to Mana Traders, and you don't have to care. Mana Traders has to care, but that's on them. That's the whole idea. They like their... Well, I don't think they like their cards getting banned, but they like to keep you a happy customer. So you can support the channel playing Pioneer decks that are in danger of getting banned using my link in the description below. Or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_RUE. Alright, now back to broken nonsense. Alright, what card... What's next on the list? Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time, a 1 green, 1 generic instant. If this spell is the first spell you've cast this game, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I don't remember how this card got banned. Was it in the mono green decks? Like, I think it was in the mono green decks. But I don't remember. I mean, I know why it's banned. It basically fixes your hand really early on in the game. Just like any other deck. Like, if it's the first... Why does it have to be for the first spell you cast this game? So if the first spell you cast this game, you get to Impulse... Let's look at Impulse. Let's read this one first. Okay, Impulse, which saw, like, historically a lot of competitive play. Blue, 1 generic instant. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And there's, like, this big league of people who are, like, you know, I mean, like, just in Modern, things like Ponder, which are cantrips. Like, Ponder's banned in Modern. Because a cantrip, you know, you look 1 blue to look at the top 3 cards of your library and, you know, rearrange the cards and draw one of them. That's broken, apparently. That's broken. Broken enough that it's banned. Alright, so now moving back to this thing. This costs nothing. It costs 0 mana if it's the first thing that you play this turn. And then you look at the top 5, you can look deeper, you look at the top 5 cards of your library to look for a creature or land card. Which, of course, in the early parts of the game, you want. You would like to look for your early 1-drops, or you look for those precise early land drops. It just got here, has been talking about Oko for 15 minutes. That's right, I mean, I honestly could talk about Oko for the entire show. Easily. Coco loves this card. Off topic, but didn't they reprint Urza's Bauble in Brothers War? Is it too OP for Modern and Pioneer? No, it's not printed in the standard set. It's like a promotional card. And Urza's Bauble, no, I think it's okay. Anyway, it's not printed into Pioneer or Modern. Okay, Once Upon a Time lets you keep very sketchy hands. That's true. It's a huge... I mean, here's the deal. It will help your mulligan decisions. And it's not only good in the early portion of the game, it's like insane in the late portion of the game. This costs 2 mana. This would make a whole lot more sense if it was 6 mana, that it has to be the first spell to be played for free. But then after, like in the late game, this is an amazing top deck. Like you have 6 mana up, you play Once Upon a Time, look for a bomb creature, and then just slam the thing on the battlefield. It's a strictly better Bond of Flourishing. Bond of Flourishing. Green 1 generic sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a permanent card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. You gain 3 life. Yeah, it's absolutely far superior to this card. This card is garbage. War the Spark. They can't make a better card than Bond of Flourishing. War the Spark, hold my beer. Eldraine comes out and says, yeah, we can change it up. Look at this, so many good cards from Throne of Eldraine. It might as well have been a Master's set. Flavor equals out is greater than everything. Yeah, Once Upon a Time. Dick says it doesn't even need to be in a green deck. That's true. You could be, but ideally it is in a green deck. Because if it's not in a green deck, then it becomes a dead top deck later. You get a Primeval Titan, a massive win rate boost for no deck building cost. That's right, for Modern. I think this was just played in the mono green decks. You know what, don't quote me on. Like, it was also probably played in, like, the Uro decks as well, when Uro eventually came out. Actually, I don't remember. You know, I'm not really a Pioneer historian. I know why this card is very, very strong, but I don't remember what Pioneer looked at like at the time. And now, for all I know, this thing lasted like 2 weeks, and then they banned the damn thing. Hold on, let's look it up. Why don't we look it up? Once Upon a Time banned and restricted. Why am I guessing this stuff? Once Upon a Time. Okay, BNR announcement. Let's look at this up. Give me a link, damn it. Links into more links. Oh, they banned Golos at the same time. Well, that's too bad. Okay, so... Whoa! They just chopped everything up here. Historic. This isn't Pioneer. Oh, this is when it got banned in Modern. When did it get banned in Pioneer? Oh, here, Once Upon a Time, Pioneer. Gotta be more specific. I think it was insta-banned. It might, no, nothing was insta-banned. They let everyone play with everything. So, you know, just go over the history of the Pioneer ban list. They started off with I think 0 ban list, nothing. And they just like, all right, everyone, you just do whatever you want, and then we'll aggressively ban things every single week. I thought that was a good policy. I like that policy, and it kept Pioneer really strong. Like, Pioneer got came out of the gates as a super fire hot format. Some people didn't like that aggressive banning, but like it made the format really good really quickly. Oh yeah, the fetch lands were banned. Sorry, I apologize. Fetch lands were banned before anything else. So that was like an OG banning. They didn't even try with the fetch lands. They knew that this was going to be a non-fetch land format. You play off the top of your deck, no searching your library. They should just ban searching your library. That's correct. No fetch lands besides the fetch lands. Thank you for correcting me. I'm no historian here. I was there when they made the format, but I wasn't paying attention to what they were doing. Because fetch lands enable a crazy deck in Standard that would have been in Pioneer. Was it? What, you mean like, what's it called? What, Uro? We'll get to Uro. Okay, I don't remember why Once Upon a Time got banned, but I do know why it's banned. It's a massive hand smoother that later on in the game, like, it's a 0 mana card. That should be worth at least 2 mana, and in the late game, it still is worth 2 mana. It still is worth 2 mana. It can help you find those Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. This is supposed to be rare. It's not supposed to find it very often. It's also supposed to be legendary. Can we bring back some legendary rule where you can only have 1 legendary in your deck? I think that was a good rule. It's not good for business for Wizards of the Coast, but I don't care. It's not flavorful. Alright, next one. Smuggler's Copter. Why is this still banned? You look at everywhere else that it's been, I mean, okay, like, you look at Once Upon a Time, for example, you see a pattern here, okay? It's banned in Pioneer, it's banned in Modern, it's banned in Explorer, it's banned in Historic. And then you look at Smuggler's Copter and, you know, it's sort of the odd one out here. It's sort of the odd one out. 2 mana for a vehicle. It's a 3/3. It has flying, by the way. When Smuggler's Copter attacks or blocks, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. You can crew for 1. Just 1. You can crew with Llanowar Elves if you want. Now, Smuggler's Copter ended up... Okay, so first off, we have to talk about, like, the mana base of Modern. Oh, where can we get Polluted Delta? Because they banned the fetch lands, like Polluted Delta... The beginning of Pioneer, like, multicolored decks sucked. They weren't good, and you could argue that they still aren't. The mana's awkward. They've gotten better. They've printed actually a lot of lands now that make the mana base a little bit more easy. But in the beginning, the mana bases were complete wretched garbage, and so one of the most popular, powerful decks was like Mono Black. Mono Black, I think, did Mono Red play Smuggler's Copter? I think also there's Mono Black, Mono Green, no, did not play Copter. Mono White, maybe. Mono Blue, no, there's no Mono Blue deck. I think it was Mono Black Aggro was not dominant near the beginning of Pioneer, but I think there was another monocolor deck. I want to say Red, but I'm not sure. So the 2 monocolor decks are like taking over Pioneer, and they're like, okay, well, what probably is the problem? What is getting out of control here? And their answer was Smuggler's Copter. Oh, was it Mono White? Maybe it was Mono White. I know there were 2 dominant monocolor decks near the beginning of the format that played Smuggler's Copter. And so they're like, okay, let's axe this card. Even though it's so easy to destroy, dies to every piece of removal. Literally, dies to all the removal, dies to all the artifact hate. You can block the damn thing if you want to. You still have to tap down creatures in order to crew it to attack, which brings down your defenses. This is broken nowhere, except, like, it was banned in Standard. Full disclaimer, Smuggler's Copter did get banned in Standard. But in Pioneer? In Pioneer, are we serious about this? This card is not powerful at all whatsoever. It was banned to bring balance to the format at the time, but this is just like a really run-of-the-mill card. Like, it's real trash. It has no business being here. It's completely illegal everywhere else because it doesn't see play anywhere else, and it still wouldn't even see play even by today's standards. Fixes hand, dodges sorcery speed, field wipes, supports aggro with 1 power, fits anywhere, cost effective. It is cost effective. It is good for all those reasons, but it's still not powerful. Like, it's not ban worthy. And while it does dodge sorcery speed removal, the creatures that crew it do not. And you have to keep supplying the Copter with more crews. Keep crewing it up. Crew it, crew it, crew it. If I remember correctly, like, the crewed creature needs to live, right? If you crew and you kill the creature in response, it doesn't crew anymore, correct? Tap any number of creatures you control with power 1 or more. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. I can't remember, though, what the ruling is on this. What do you remove from your deck to play Smuggler's Copter? Just creatures. It's like a super creature, effectively. Memnite can use Smuggler's Copter very effectively. It can, I guess. Remember, the Copter still has Summoning Sickness on turn 2. It's still crude if the creature dies? Okay, it stayed crude. Okay. I haven't played with vehicles since my Smuggler's Copter days. Vehicles are very unplayable in Modern. Except for... Yeah, we'll just say that. It's just very, very unplayable. And like, Pioneer is a pretty powerful format now. Like, it's getting more powerful. So Smuggler's Copter has absolutely no business being on the ban list. It's not powerful whatsoever. Free Smuggler's Copter! Free it! Like, they could have freed it, like, I don't know, well, maybe not a year ago. It's Pioneer. No one was playing the format back then. But now they can! There's no reason for this thing to be left on the ban list. Free the Smuggler's Copter. Alright, so I think... Oh, let's give it a sound effect. This card is okay. This card is okay. What? They banned Teferi Time Raveler? When did that happen? Well, I'll be damned. It is banned. Okay. Oh, I remember. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Teferi Time Raveler banned Pioneer. I remember. This was the first card to be banned because of public outrage. That's right. This was the first card that was objectively fair. Like, it's a good card. It was banned more because it was annoying than anything else. And I think they even acknowledge that. Okay, in addition, we're taking... They banned Uro at the same time. Because they were cleaning house that day. In addition, we're taking this opportunity to ban Teferi Time Raveler from Pioneer as cards that previously outstayed their welcome in Standard. Removing Teferi Time Raveler will have the added benefit of lowering the power level of Niv-to-Light decks, which were among the most played and most winning archetypes. Without Teferi Time Raveler to hold them in check, we're concerned that metagame shares of Wilderness Reclamation decks would rise, so we're choosing to preempt that outcome. Oh, they didn't acknowledge that. All I can tell you is that, like, one day on Twitter and on Reddit, you know, everyone's calling for the banning of this card. Actually, people are also calling for the banning of this card in Modern, but they got it in Pioneer, but they didn't get it in Modern. Teferi is an unfun card. It is an unfun card. Welcome to Hearthstone, Population U. Welcome to Hearthstone. Pioneer is quite fun these days. Why the hell they banned Teferi? I think it was... Whoa! You can't say that around here, Mr. Thule, around these parts. They're gonna kill you over those, over that. Yeah, Teferi Time Raveler, very unpopular card because of the static ability. Each opponent can cast spells only any time they could cast a sorcery. So, effectively, if the board is empty... I mean, you gotta be really lucky to kill Teferi Time Raveler. It will, like, the blue-white player will absolutely defend themselves. Not to mention, like, blue-white control is still good. Like, people are still playing blue-white control in Pioneer. Still a top-tier deck, even without Teferi Time Raveler. Now, if you add Teferi Time Raveler, good luck combo decks, good luck anything. Trio is like, I love Teferi. Everyone's just salty. They are. Hey, I never called for the banning of Teferi. I actually don't care about this card. I'm biased, though, because I'm a Merfolk player and I play with Aether Vial and I can just flash in things. At least in Modern. And in Pioneer, I also didn't care about this thing. I play Spirits. I got a lot of little dinky creatures. You bounce one? Well, you can't bounce us all. And you're still... It's still... At the end of the day, Teferi will go down to 1 loyalty if they wants to use the bounce effect. Just +1 and pass. That is a line. And you know, when you've got, if you're tapping out for Teferi and the board is empty, +1 is good. Salt Lord here, I dislike him. Interaction is why this game is better than Hearthstone. I don't like that passive ability. I will admit this. I don't like these passive abilities that only affect, like, the opponents, but not the player that played the ability. I think that is BS. Actually, that's why cards like Teferi are broken. Like Teferi and like Karn the Great Creator, these passive, and Narset and Ashiok, these passive abilities that only affect one side but don't affect you. That's nonsense. Of course it's going to be abusable. But then of course if this ability affected both players, probably... No, it could probably still see play in a control deck. Just control deck without counter spells. tap out control, as they would say. Tap out control. We're stuck with Teferi in Modern because it's a police card nowadays. It keeps in check a lot of stuff. Still an unfun design, like Bridge or Chalice. What does it even keep in check? Oh, it does actually, because of the Cascade decks. We need you, Teferi. We need you for the Cascade. Keep crashing footfalls in check. The passive should have been symmetrical. Yes! It should have been symmetrical. How did they think this was a good idea? I mean, it did see play. I'm not going to blame them. They make cards to see play, and they did see play. Saw play everywhere. And hold on. Okay, let's see how they fixed Teferi. Because they did fix them for Alchemy. Alright, so this is the fixed Teferi. This is Teferi as it should have been designed in the first place. It should have been a blue, white, 2 generic. So we went up on casting cost. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn, so they can... Hold on. Opponents can't cast spells during... Okay, so in a multiplayer game... Well, this doesn't really matter. Opponents can't cast spells during... Oh, I see. Okay, so they just can't cast spells during your turn, so you can do whatever you want. So it's Hearthstone when it's on the Teferi Time Raveler controller's turn, but I can still play at instant speed on my turn. If I go for attacks, you try to disrupt me, I can disrupt you in response. I can play instant speed removal if I want to. If Teferi was a 4-drop, it would be fair. And then we got this +1 until your next turn you may cast sorcery. Only sorcery spells, as though they had flash. Not... Oh, was that the case on the other one? I can't remember. And then -3, return up to 1 target artifact, creature, or enchantment to its owner's hand, draw a card. Artifact, creature, enchantment. Yeah, that's the same thing. You may cast sorcery spells. Okay, the looks like the abilities are the same. +1 and -3. They just upped the mana cost, and they also made the clause that you can only cast. You just can't place spells on the Teferi Time Raveler player's turn. Javier, you miss Underworld Breach. Is that banned in Pioneer? It is. Okay, let's go. Oh, you know what? While you mentioned it, let's go to Underworld Breach. Sure. Whoops. Let's move on. Underworld Breach. 1 red, 1 generic enchantment. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Underworld Breach. Funny thing is, this card wasn't immediately broken in all the formats. It did eventually get banned in Legacy. It eventually got banned in Pioneer, and it's waiting for its time in Modern. It's waiting. It's waiting, people. Will the current breach like it's, but you know, it was not. I mean, people knew that this card was busted because it is basically Yawgmoth's Will. And Yawgmoth's Will is banned in Legacy. So, I mean, if this thing, you know, until end of turn you can play cards from your graveyard. The card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere else, exile it instead. If this is banned in Legacy, I mean, this has to be banned like everywhere else. Underworld Breach with Lotus Field was such an easy turn 3 kill. Never come back. Oh, so it was Lotus Field deck that put it away. The Lotus Field combo deck. It's this is a hell of a deck. I mean, in Pioneer, they got access to Black Lotus, like Black Lotus land. They had access to Yawgmoth's Will. My god, this is basically a vintage deck. It's funny that in Historic, this card is not played at all. One day it will be. Like it's like just a card everyone knows is completely broken. It's somebody just has to figure out how to break it. Because it's same problem in Modern. It's not broken yet. By the way, let's read this card. Enchantment. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice Underworld Breach. So you do need to have a loaded graveyard to keep playing cards from your graveyard. And so that's the clause here. That as you keep escaping, or as you keep exiling cards, you can't keep doing this for forever. On the other hand, the card does go back to the graveyard, which is a weird thing to do. At least Yawgmoth's Will made the card exiled permanently. Well, where is it? Yawgmoth's Will. I think someone mentioned it. It's way better than Yawgmoth's Will. Because if a card would be put in your graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile that card instead. It's one card away from being banned in Modern. It probably is. As a Commander player, this card is absolutely terrifying. What, Underworld Breach? It's not Mario Paint, it's Animal Crossings. Although, probably I should get some... You guys want me to bring Mario Paint music to the show? I could probably do that. There's not a lot of... I don't know if the Mario Paint soundtrack aged well, but I don't know. I haven't listened to it in a long time. Card goes back to the graveyard, which is undoubtedly the most broken part of the card. Let you just keep playing Brain Freeze or Hidden Strings. I play Lotus Field in Historic Azorius Control. Stifle, Discontinuity, and Strict Proctor have gotten it to Mythic 1K. Congratulations. Okay, here we go. It's way better than Yawg's Will because you can still use your graveyard during your combo. Yeah, so Underworld Breach, yeah. And only takes... It wasn't played in a lot of decks. It is a weird card. It just needs to be found in one deck. That's it. Just one deck to break it, and then it's going to be banned. And then its claim to fame has been done. And it's banned in Pioneer, I guess, for the Lotus Field combo deck, which is a deck... Let's Lotus Field... Which is basically a cantrip deck where you also untap your lands. What is it called? Hidden Strings? You may tap or untap target permanent, then you may tap another... I can't remember if this was played in that deck. Lotus Field Pioneer Combo. Let's look at one of these lists. Ah, yes, a Boreal Grazer. I actually found this card quite annoying in this Lotus Field deck because it ramps into the Lotus Field, but then it also is just a damn blocker for my creatures. Ah, the Fae of Wishes. This is an old deck? June 19th, 2021. Is this when they still played Underworld Breach? No. It's an old list. It's an old list, but it checks out. It's got Sylvan Scrying. Wow, they have Sylvan Scrying in this deck? I don't remember the list. I just remember it's a miserable thing to play against. Ah, dig through. This card's still legal. Is this card still legal? It's still legal. What the hell? What is going on here? Okay, whatever. Okay, Underworld Breach. Super banned card. I got destroyed in F&M against Underworld Breach. Casting Twiddle and Mill spells. That's exactly what it does. Stifle and Historic sounds fun. Stifle, they should get Stifle should be a staple in every format. I don't know how many times I gotta say it. The ETB triggers and like activated abilities are just running free in Magic the Gathering. Alright, Undercity Informer. Boy, is that an unfun card. Alright, I never thought in my entire life that this card would ever get banned. Never. Like, if someone made a bet with me that Undercity Informer one day would get banned, I don't know. Okay, let's read this thing. A black 2 generic 2/3 creature, human rogue. Pay 1, sack a creature. Target player reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a land card, then puts those cards into his or her graveyard. Like what? You gotta be like you have to be manaless in order to like mill your entire deck. I would never have bet that this card would have been banned one day. Scandal and slander are never welcome news. That's why I'm never the messenger. I can see why it would be banned if Thassa is legal. Yeah, but at the time that this card was printed, Thassa didn't exist. It's because of the deck. Oops, all spells. Oops. Oops, all spells. Pioneer. Can we get an MTG Goldfish one? There we go. Good enough. Okay, apparently this is an article. There we go. So, what ended up happening is eventually they printed spells that could also be used as lands. Here we go, right over here. We got the Tin Timber Symbiosis, which can be a green mana source. Also, it can be a sorcery. But, like, the front side is the card. The back side is the land. So, to Undercity Informer, the whole deck is full of spells. And you have, like, Seagate Restoration. You got Hagra Mauling. And some of these are really playable. The Hagra Mauling, that's like 4 mana, destroy a creature. That's not bad. You know, you got Driven in Despair, Creeping Chill. Hold on, so those aren't lands, but this is land. Palaka Predation. What else we have? We have the Balaged Recovery. Green 2 generic, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So if you like killed the Undercity Informer or interacted with in some way, countered it, we bringing it back, baby. The Agadeem's Awakening. So like the deck had some mana source. Gilded Goose was a mana source. Oh yeah, they had the ramp spells like Tangled Florahedron. So it's just like a gold fishing deck, and they can goldfish if you can't do anything. Like if you have no interaction, they'll just kill you by turn 3. Turn 2, Tangled Florahedron. Then turn 4, a land. Undercity Informer. Pay a mana, sack itself. Reveal the entire reveal your entire deck. Oh, how do you win the game? Yeah, that might be important to explain. All right, so we've got first you're gonna get Creeping Chilled your life away, so you lose 12 life immediately. Then you've got Prized Amalgam, which will come back onto the battlefield. What is... Something has to... Oh, yeah. Silver Smoke Ghoul will trigger because of the Creeping Chills. Because Silver Smoke Ghoul says, at the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, return Silver Smoke Ghoul from your graveyard to the battlefield. So Creeping Chill triggers... You get your Silver Smoke Ghouls. So Silver Smoke Ghouls from graveyard to the battlefield. That triggers your Prized Amalgams on your opponent's turn. So you can get 4 3/3 creatures onto the battlefield. Well, and how else do you win this game? Okay, hold on. You have to not die to your draw step. Discard 2 cards. Return this thing back from the graveyard. Worldspine Worm. Oh, Worldspine Worm will trigger. There we go. When Worldspine Worm is put into a graveyard from anywhere, shuffle it into its owner's library. So basically, the Worldspine Worm goes back on top. These lands are very well designed outside of some broken combos. Yeah, that's anyway, that's how this thing worked. That's the card. And it's the enable. What did they do if you didn't have the Undercity Informer though? Hold on. Was there one more card that did? Oh yeah, Balustrade Spy. So actually this deck still exists. They just chopped off half its win conditions because Balustrade Spy does the same thing. Or effectively the same thing. Oh, I'm bugging out here. So if you still want to play this dumb deck, it still exists. Enters the battlefield. Target player reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land card, then puts those cards into their graveyard. I'm surprised they didn't ban this card. I have a track to suggest Globetrot from Wii Party could suit you. Thank you very much. I'll look at it later. Oh, it's also they just killed the deck. They killed the deck off. Okay. Did they do this all at once? Okay, now I'm gonna look it up the news. Undercity Informer. February, is it this one? Oh, this is the same one with Teferi. Okay, explain yourself. So they banned them both at once, did they? Balustrade Spy and the Undercity Informer. Yeah, they just like, we can't have this combo deck. So stupid. Nikachu, I think you completely missed Thassa's Oracle in that deck list. I see it. It's like a random extra win condition, I guess. Hold on. Oh, I don't have the deck list. Yeah, it did have Thassa's Oracle, but they don't need to win through Thassa's Oracle. I think predominantly they'll win with the creatures. Then if the creatures are somehow dealt with, they can win with that. They can use the card to retrieve cards from your graveyard back to hand. They could bring a Thassa's Oracle back to hand and win that way. But I think that's like a alternate win condition. So what do they have to say about this? Finally, we're seeing a concerning win rate and metagame share for Oops All Spells deck, which uses Balustrade Spy and Undercity Informer to mill its entire library. Having no cards that count as lands while in the library, given the difficulty of interacting with the strategy, it isn't easily held in check by natural metagame forces. We don't believe Pioneer can be at its most fun with Oops All Spells being a large part of the metagame, so we're choosing to ban it all. The deck is gone. If you want to play the deck, go play it in Modern, I guess. It's still free real estate here. Yeah, it is banned. So, alright, Undercity Informer banned for the same reason as Balustrade Spy. Completely missed that. I probably talked about it in the last like banned Pioneer card show. Largely, it was because you can bring multiple Vengevine and equipping them with multiple Swords of the Meek. Vengevine isn't legal in Pioneer. And that deck is completely legal in Modern still. You can still do that if you want. No more pops. You mean Oops All Spells. They just banned them together since they're the same card effectively. Yeah, but you could weaken the combo. Like, it's a consistent combo because there are two enablers. But if you get rid of one of them, you could make... I don't think there's anything wrong with this deck existing. Turn 3, I'll admit, is a little early. I don't really like turn 3 combo decks, especially if you can't interact with them very well. But turn 4 is okay. Turn 4 is okay. Otherwise, they would like just ban Lotus Field by now. Anywho, they banned both the win conditions that can win by turn 3. But if you ban one of them, the deck gets really clunky really fast. I don't know what the replacement is after that. Modern, basically win by turn 4 or lose. Well, nah, you know what? I think there's a lot of interaction these days. A lot of interaction. Okay, what else got banned in Pioneer? Oh, Uro. Uro got banned in Pioneer, of course. This is another one of those cards that are like, one by one, they're gonna get banned everywhere. I'm pretty sure it got banned in Standard. I don't remember. I don't pay attention to that format. And also, like, Uro got printed during, like, the worst of COVID, so, like, no one was playing Paper Standard. No one oh, no, I guess, sorry, people were playing on Magic Arena. I'm pretty sure this card got banned. But then, slowly but surely, gets banned in Pioneer, gets banned in Modern. Just one by one. But they took a long time. But it was, you know, the poster boy of, what's it called? That Theros set. I don't remember. It was banned in Standard. And very quickly. And it got banned very slowly in Modern. But also got banned relatively quickly in Pioneer. And this proves that even without fetch lands, you know, these cards can be broken. And I think the same thing can be said about Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time. How those cards are not on the ban list are beyond me, but whatever. Let them play with their toys until they become too much. Theros Beyond Death. That's right. Beyond Death. No, the card was legal in Standard for like 8 months, and it was a mistake. Really? For that long? Good God, that is a bit long. They tried to milk their money's worth out of Uro, even though it's like not relevant. Like no one's buying Theros Beyond Death booster boxes to play in Standard. Like the dominant people who buy these sets are just Commander players. Oh, so it was not snap banned in Standard. All right, what's wrong with this card? Okay, blue, green, 1 generic. When Uro enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. So when Uro enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life and draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Holy moly! This card does a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of ramp cards for like 2 to 3 mana that does like 1/3 of all this. And it does it all. So for 3 mana, like, forget that it's a creature. For 3 mana, we gain 3 life, we draw a card, so we replace it, and then you can put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield, so that's effectively explore plus gain 3 life. But there is a creature attached for it, so when we escape, we pay double blue, double green, which is super easy to cast because we already had 3 mana to cast this thing. Obviously we're gonna have like at least a 4th mana. Exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its escape cost. So it again is going to enter the battlefield. You're gonna draw a card. You're gaining 3 life, and you can put more lands onto the battlefield. And when it attacks, you get this ability. Why when it attacks? Okay, ETB, that's enough. Stop, slow down. So, and like 5 other cards, it was hard to keep the graveyard empty for these Uro decks. It's the fire design garbage. They tried to ban Growth Spiral and Standard to weaken the deck. Guess what? Uro and Lotus Cobra, it was still busted. And Justin is like, what's wrong with this card? It looks good, print it. If they ban Cruise and Pioneer, the Phoenix deck may effectively lose its overall competitiveness. No, it won't. It'll still be good. There's nothing wrong with it. Treasure Cruise just takes it over the top. Remember, not everything needs to be tier 1 to be competitive. Now, yeah, so anyway, the problem with Uro is that, like, when it gets on the battlefield, the game can spiral largely out of control. Not to mention it's a 6/6 creature. And you can never really kill it. You have to exile this thing. If you kill it, it goes to the graveyard. Okay, that's fine. Just blow a bunch of cantrips or something, and then bring Uro back from the graveyard back to the battlefield, and you have to deal with it all over again. And it replaces itself. So every single time it enters the battlefield, get another card. And then if you don't deal with it before it attacks, now the game is really spiraling out of control. And you can't even race the damn player because you attack, you gain life. So even if you're like a mono-red aggro deck or any aggro deck, this is like basically impossible to deal with. Lotus Cobra needs to go. I never thought I would hear the day where I heard someone say that. Like, it was pretty good in Standard when it first got printed, but I mean, it wasn't insanely busted or anything. Green 1 generic 2/1 creature. Snake! It's Snake! Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color. It's Hood Blossoms as a warning. Receive your gift, but stray no closer. There is quite a bit of graveyard hate now. It's still not really good enough for the Titan deck. Not to mention, the Titan deck is green. So if you do have graveyard hate, like in the form of artifacts or enchantments, they just remove it. They just destroy it. Green deals with everything. Lotus Cobra wasn't even that good when it came back to Standard. Did we do Expressive Iteration yet? Yeah, we did it. I had another show with Uro. So, I mean, like, if you've... I guess this is a hard card to understand unless you've played against it before. And it was the type of card that was very, very good, but not clear that, like, it's not, like, snap instant ban worthy, which is why they let the formats play with it for quite a while. Apparently in Standard, like, even 8 months. I don't remember how long it lasted in Pioneer, but it was around for a while. It was around for quite a while. And it didn't help, like it also got access to all the really good, like, green cards, like, you know, Once Upon a Time at the time. Actually, no, I can't remember if Once Upon a Time was legal at the time that Uro was around. I don't remember the time frame. Like, the Pioneer cards got banned so fast. They just came out banned and everything. I don't remember the exact history. In Pioneer, more than a year later, almost 2 years of Uro. That seems like a bit too long. Well, the Simic hates, because Simic too strong. One day they said, all right, Simic's gonna be tier 1, and then everyone hated it. No one was happy. Ramp Go Burr. That's right, Ramp Go Burr. All right, Uro. Just an ungodly card draw engine that nobody can deal with. All right, going on. Oh, this is a fun one. Veil of Summer. 1 green, instant. Draw a card if an opponent has cast a blue or black spell this turn. Spells you control can't be countered this turn. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and black until end of turn. This is literally Summer's Veil. So there's already a card called it. Summer's Veil. That's an old card. I thought it was Summer's Veil, or I'm spelling it wrong. Summer's... Oh, sorry. Autumn's Veil. Autumn's Veil. Okay, here's the OG card. From M12, really old card. Green, instant, blue spells you control can't be countered by blue or black spells this turn, and creatures you control can't be the targets of blue or black spells this turn. And turns out, you had draw a card on top of that, and now it's completely broken. Everyone's correcting me. It's too many seasons. Too many seasons out there. Now, personally, I think they should keep this around. I actually don't think that there is, like, I understand why they think it's strong, but it's like a really strong sideboard card. It's a sideboard card. It is very weird that a sideboard card gets banned. That is very unusual. Usually you're banning the threats, not the answers to threats. And it is backbreaking when you play like a hand, just like you try to Thoughtseize and you get Veil of Summer. That is absolutely backbreaking. So I don't remember the exact nuances why they banned Veil of Summer. Of course, mono green is very strong deck right now. It still is strong. So maybe they're trying to weaken, make mono green more vulnerable. Still more green hate. Yep. Green is broken and still broken. And they wanna ban Nykthos and all this other stuff in Pioneer still. Essentially green counterspell plus card draw. Green cryptic command, as they would say. You know, I'm not done. We're gonna have an extra long one. I'm not done today. We're gonna have a slightly extra long because I'm not gonna come back to this topic. How many cards we have left? We got a few more cards. We're gonna have an extra long Coffee and MTG today. This less an answer and more threat protection. Dick says, I wish they'd finally print a card with flavor text that says, go ahead, cause a fist fight in a parking lot. That's a Veil of Summer card. Green Leyline was the first Pioneer ban. That's true. They unbanned it, didn't they? Actually, I can't remember what they did. They keep that Leyline? No, Leyline of Abundance is still banned. It's banned. It's banned. It's gone. This is fun as heck. Don't end early. Yeah, I know. Yeah, bonus content. Okay, way to fix Pioneer. Ban Karn the Great Crit and unban Veil of Summer. You know, it's funny. Like, hey, the Izzet Phoenix decks are really strong now. I don't know if counterspells are like the main reason. Probably not. But anyway, Veil of Summer is like a super feels bad card. You know, even as a Merfolk player, I try to counter something, then they Veil of Summer, and I'm like, ooh, that hurts. Like, my pain threshold goes up by a lot. Because you got countered for 1 mana, and they draw a card. That really stings. I mean, if it's like a 1 mana counter spell, okay, that's fine, fair, I don't care. But you like draw a card out of it, like my back is already against the wall, and now it's pushed even further. Same thing with like turn 1 Thoughtseize and stuff like that. Nykthos would be even harder to manage with this card. Veil of Summer, Thoughtseize feels like a turn 1 win. It might as well. I don't remember. Okay, but why did they ban this card? Is it just like it saw too much play? Was it like they were trying to weaken the decks? Veil of Summer banned Pioneer. I want to hear from Ian Duke himself. Banned and restricted. Where are you, Ian Duke? And why don't you do as many banned and restricted announcements like you used to? You used to be in charge. I can't find the original. Oh, is it a still with all these? Oh no, hold on. This is just the banned restricted card. Why can't I find the original article? What's going on here? No, this Veil of Summer banned and restricted Pioneer. Okay, let's look at whatever Channel Fireball said. Oh, it's broken. Can't find anything here. Okay, there we go. Banned. Why is it banned? Tell me all about it, David McCoy. Wizards of the Coast has banned Veil of Summer in the Magic the Gathering Pioneer format. In their announcement, generally seeing positive changes to the metagame after banning Felidar Guardian, Leyline of Abundance, and Oath of Nissa last week. However, they continued, green-based aggro and ram decks still remain overrepresented in the competitive metagame at the expense of mid-range and control. Therefore, we're banning Veil of Summer. There you got it, people. You got banned because green too good. I never thought I'd hear the day green too good, but I guess it is. They say that green can do anything. Alright, what do we got next? What in the hell? Oh, I'm happy to see this ban. Walking Ballista. Ha! I wish they banned this everywhere else. It's like, it's not ban-worthy anymore in, like, Modern, but it was at one point, in my opinion. Alright, XX for this construct. Enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Pay for... put a counter on Walking Ballista. You could also remove a +1/+1 counter from Walking Ballista. It deals 1 damage to any target. What was the infinite that they were doing with this? This had to have gone infinite. I don't remember the infinite deck. Or was it just too good in a Nykthos deck, a Nykthos shell? It's anti-green propaganda, that's what it is. David trying to defend his green baby. Walking Ballista, Heliod Sun Crown, you win. Heliod, oh yeah, there was like a mono white like aggro deck that randomly had a combo kill in it, didn't it? Heliod Sun Crowned. That's right, there was a mono white aggro deck with an instant kill. Heliod Sun Crown, white 2 generic, 5/5 indestructible creature. As long as your devotion to white is blah blah, who cares? Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. Pay a white and a generic. Another target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. So here's the combo. You play the Walking Ballista for 2 counters. Then you play your Heliod Sun... Well, you play Heliod Sun Crown on turn 3. You play your Walking Ballista on turn 4. Then your opponent has to kill this Ballista. They have to. Because if they don't, they be screwed. And then you give it life. You give your Walking Ballista lifelink for a white and 1 generic. So you give your Walking Ballista lifelink. And this is how the rules are. You remove a counter, deal a damage to your opponent, and then Heliod's going to trigger. Because Walking Ballista has lifelink. And lifelink technically says if the creature deals damage in any way at all, it doesn't have to be through combat. It can also be through abilities on it. If it deals damage, it's going to gain life. So then this thing triggers. Whenever you gain life, put a counter on target creature or enchantment you control. So you gained life, you put the counter back on the Ballista. Shoot your opponent. Gain life, put a counter on Ballista. Shoot the opponent. Gain life, put the counter on the Ballista, and then your opponent is dead. Stone dead. Yeah, it was a Heliod combo. If you have an Anthem out, the Walking Ballista can cost 0/2. But it needs a counter. It still needs a counter. So you have to at least put it out for 1. You could also play Walking Ballista on 1, and if this was like a Soul Sister on the battlefield, trigger, gain life, put a counter on Ballista, and kill the opponent. But it was an unfun combo, if I remember correctly. Like there's no way to interact with this thing, or you very poorly could interact with it. It was just disgusting. Couldn't you have played Ballista for 2 mana, so taking 1 counter off doesn't kill it? If you play Ballista for 2 mana, then has 1 counter on it, then if you remove the counter, it dies instantly. So no, you have to play a Ballista for 2. So Gunblade Knight says, my favorite is to play Heliod on turn 3. Then on turn 4, play Ballista for X = 1. Play Radiant Fountain as a land for the turn, then give it lifelink. That's exactly how... Oh! Ballista for 1, play Radiant Fountain, gain the life. Oh, that's great. So Radiant Fountain is a land that gains life. Radiant Fountain. Is that legal in Pioneer, you say? It is legal in Pioneer. So enters the battlefield, gain 2 life, and then it'll trigger Heliod, and then you get your counter on Ballista. So you get to go there faster. And wasn't there a way to tutor the Ballista? I swear there's a tutor for Ballista in Modern. There's something that could... Heliod can also be dropped in off of Collected Company. That's right. Heliod can be dropped off Collected Company in that deck. Was it green-white? I mean, you could do that. I remember there was a mono-white deck that did this, and it was very good. Trinket Mage? No, it wasn't that. This was top tier in Modern also. Did it just die because of Prismatic Ending, removing Heliod or General? Well, the thing is, this deck heavily relied on creatures, and there's a lot of creature removal in Modern, so the deck never actually took off. Because you needed to get, like, infinite mana. Oh, sorry. There was a green-white Heliod combo deck, yeah, that was super powerful. And I don't remember why it disappeared. I actually have no explanation. Oh! The combo sucks online, but actually it sucks less in paper because the comboing off online is very, it was complicated. Was Fabrication the card? No, I'm talking about, there's no Ranger of Eos. Or was there a Ranger of Eos? Ranger of Eos? Like, regular Ranger of Eos? No, it's not Pioneer legal. And Captain Ranger of Eos is not legal in Pioneer. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just Collected Company. I could have swore that they had a way to tutor the Ballista, but maybe I'm wrong. Bro, that nose hair is hanging out of your nose. Well, do you know what? I'm going to take this as a compliment because that means my webcam is high quality. High quality webcam. You can see my nose hair. Coco Heliod. That's for Modern. I'm trying to think for Pioneer. Whatever. We don't have anything. Okay, so it was just a random win condition if they could ever get it. Now, is that a powerful combo? Yeah, it's a powerful combo. 2-card combos really suck. Especially in Pioneer, where the removal is actually not so good. So this was a really powerful combo, and there's like nothing else you could do about it. And one thing about the combo is, like, even if you have removal, you need 2 pieces of removal. Because let's say you try to use a removal, like what they could do with Heliod is if you tap out, you're screwed. So the deal is, if you tap out, you lose. They'll just give the Walking Ballista lifelink, and then that's it. That's it. It's over. But let's say you don't give it lifelink. Like, what you could also do is leave up the 2 mana, because what you could do is, let's say you try to give the Walking Ballista lifelink. In response, your opponent could use a removal spell on Walking Ballista, like Fatal Push, for example. But then you could just wait. You could just hold back and be like, okay, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to pass the turn with 2 mana up because I can kill you anytime. And then you pass the turn, and your opponent now needs 2 removal spells. They need to target the Ballista. Then the opponent, in response, uses the lifelink ability. And then you need to use another removal spell at the same time. So you need 2 removal spells for 1 card. It's just too hard to play around. It's just impossible. It's just too much of a pain. So it is a very, very powerful combo. Begone! Walking Ballista. And truth be told, they probably could have banned the Heliod Sun Crown, but they don't want to do that because it's a mythic. It's a mythic in their set. And it was new. Walking Ballista is old. You go down. Basically, the lower your rarity, and also the older the card, the more likely you get banned over other cards. So that's why Walking Ballista is banned. Powerful card, though. Very annoying. Super annoying card. Yeah, super annoying. I hate this card. Wilderness Reclamation is the next card. This is I don't know how to explain this card, but it's basically like that. What is it? Was it Fires of Invention? Yeah, Fires of Invention. Fires of Invention was a pretty broken card in Standard because it let you get, like, more mana. Wilderness Reclamation lets you double your mana. So for green 3 generic, at the end, it's an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. So you basically tap out to do whatever you want, play planeswalkers, and then untap all your mana. And then, of course, people also mentioned Nexus of Fate. It was abused big time with Nexus of Fate. So you could, like, ramp into this card really early. Sure, it says 7 mana, but like once you have 4 mana for Wilderness Reclamation, you have enough mana for Nexus of Fate. Because what you do is you before your end step, float 4 mana. Get to your end step. Wilderness Reclamation triggers. With the trigger on the stack, float 4 mana, untap all your lands, pay another 4, or pay 3, I should say, and then play your Nexus of Fate, and you get another turn. And just try to loop that as much as possible. but it gave you an insane amount of mana. And honestly, I really don't care about this card. I know it's banned in Explorer, but it's only banned in Explorer because it's banned in Pioneer. I know it's banned in Historic, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's a clunky card. Can we not admit that this is a pretty clunky? It's a 4-mana enchantment, and if they like blow it up, like, and you usually can't make great use of it the turn that it comes in play. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. That's a BS lie. If you're in like playing Bant Control, you can tap out, play this, and then have Counterspell up on your opponent's turn. First time here. What about Heal It and Spellskite? Oh, sorry, Spike Feeder. Yeah, that's a thing, but it's only in Modern. This is a Pioneer show today. Holy, is this overpowered in red-green? You would think that. And we got this Domri Raid quote here. Walls crack, buildings fall, always wilds return. But this ended up seeing play in all the control. This is a control card. It was dominantly a blue card. Wilderness Reclamation was banned early on. I think nowadays it would be okay. And maybe, I'm not gonna, like, it's an okay card. It's good. But I actually don't think it's overwhelmingly busted. Like, didn't we ban Nexus of Fate? We banned Nexus of Fate, didn't we? With this thing banned in Pioneer, like, what do we care about this thing anymore? Like, that big payoff is gone. And there's, like, a lot of the payoffs are gone for Wilderness Reclamation. This card sees no play in Modern because it's really not that good. It's like a really slow, clunky card. And if anything, you could probably give the control players a little bit of a boost. I did feel that in another show. If you want, there'll be a link to the other banned and banned Pioneer cards in the description, so you can all check out the other one. See our discussion of the other banned cards. You basically double your mana at the end of your turn and cast a massive spell at instant speed every turn. Broken. Sure, but they're all sorts. By turn 5, like, shouldn't we be doing broken stuff? Shouldn't we? Also, I have been, as a player who plays creature decks, I've beaten my opponent because, like, they had too much, like, Wilderness Reclamation cards in their hand, but they didn't have enough removal. They didn't have removal or sweepers, so this takes up a slot in your deck, and this is, like, one less card you have to interact with your opponent, even though it does ramp you up by quite a bit. I'm doing great, Alexander. Thanks for asking. I remember a Flash deck using these very efficiently. Why didn't they make this on your opponent's untap step? Does that matter? I don't think that matters that much. Oh, do you know what's the problem? Then this would be broken in Commander. Because then your opponent keeps getting untap steps. At least at the beginning of your end step, you only get to do this once. You would actually make this even worse, Tommy. Commander players be looking, Wilderness Reclamation. It's going straight into my deck. Instant super staple. So anyway, I actually don't think Wilderness Reclamation is all that broken. It's not proving itself broken in Modern, and I'm sure they banned it very early on in Pioneer to keep the metagame in check. But this is one of those cards I think that can come off the ban list. It's a good card. Don't get me wrong, it's a good card. But let's be serious. If you're doing broken things by turn 5, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, you have bigger things to worry about. Super bigger things to worry about. They can play this thing on turn 4. It's not that big of a deal. New thumbnail face. Some sort of poggers looking thing. Yeah, it'd be a little bit worse Seaborn Muse, but it can't die. It wouldn't die. So in my opinion, Wilderness Reclamation, good card, but not super overpowered. We can unban Wilderness Reclamation. Disclaimer, I don't play Pioneer, so don't take my word for it that it could be unbanned. All right, Winota, Joiner of Forces. One of the most disturbing cards that they ever printed. It looks like a commander card, but actually it's a deadly competitive card. White, red, 2 generic, 4/4. Human warrior. Whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Tapped and attacking, it gains indestructible until end of turn, which is garbage. There is no reason they should be indestructible. Put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. So the deal is this. First, step 1, ramp into Winota with things like a Boreal Grazer and like Llanowar Elves and stuff like that. So like technically this thing can attack. It's a green 0/3 beast with reach, enters the battlefield to put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. But it can attack. It technically can attack. It doesn't have defender. It's not an actual wall or anything like that. Yeah, Winota, I think, is on the top 10 of my most feel-bad cards to play against. Like, this is just disgustingly awful. And in theory, easy to, like, deal with because you could, you know, they play Winota, and you can very easily just remove this thing, you know, just use removal. But if you don't have removal on the turn that it comes into play, you're dead. So like if you're tapped out, you're screwed. So you always have to hold up mana for Winota. And at that point, they can just slowly build up their board like it doesn't even matter. Vietnam flashbacks incoming. Yeah, giving them indestructible was complete nonsense. Winota stacks as a CDH deck. Yeah, I heard. I said Winota sucked in Commander, and everyone's like, but it's like the best deck in the format because of stacks. And I'm like, how the hell do I know this is a stacks card? Broken everywhere. It was broken in Historic as well. How is it not banned in Historic? It's now not legal? How do you go from banned to not legal? I don't get that. It used to be banned in Historic. Now they just erased her from history. Is Growth Spiral legal in Pioneer, though? It was one of the things that made Reclamation really strong, to be honest. What's it called? Growth Spiral. It's legal. It's still there. It didn't even go anywhere. It's okay. Again, Dick with the... Go ahead, cause a fist fight in the parking lot. Doesn't fit the text box. Nikachu, can you tell us a little bit about your cat? I have 2 cats. One's gray, one's brown. There you go. That's what it... There's everything I have to say about my cats. It is legal? No, it says not legal. Do you see that? So in Historic, it's not legal, but it's not banned. That's very bizarre. Or maybe they... But in Alchemy, they made this version. So how did they fix Winota here? So in Alchemy, they fixed Winota. Okay, same stats, same casting cost. Whenever one or more non-human creatures you control attack, list the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It gains indestructible until end of turn. Isn't this the same damn card? What is the difference here? Whenever one or more non-human creatures you control attack, look at the top 6 cards of your library. Or is it's you don't look per card? Whenever a non-human creature... What's the difference? It does trigger only once and not for each attacker. It doesn't work on its own attack trigger. Whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. Whenever one or more... There we go, that's the key. Whenever one or more... They fixed Winota! Yeah, this is just absurd. You'd like just a bunch of Boreal Grazers get into the red zone, and then what were the payoff cards? What is that Angrith card? There's some Angrith. The Angrith's Marauders. Get the hell out of here. Red 5 generic, but who cares? It's gonna be played for free because it's a human off of the Winota deck. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent player, it deals double that damage to that permanent player instead. What a bunch of nonsense. Approaching Calamity! Thank you so much for the super chat. I'm supposed to be in a Zoom class right now, but magic. That's okay, you can do both at once. It's okay. Yeah, the deck goes from 0 to... That's a great way to describe Winota. It goes from 0 to 100 immediately. It was Tovolar also a win condition? Tovolar. I believe this one. There's a battlefield, create 2 green wolf tokens, or was it the other one? Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Oh, that's sick. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control through... I don't remember... I don't know if... I actually don't remember what the deck list looked like. I just remember getting smashed by this in Historic. It's the green one? Okay. Just a big, big, beefy dummy. Big, thick dummy. Furnace of Wrath on a dude. I thought her text was non-human. So a non-human has to attack, but then you look through your library for a human. And this is a human. That's how it works. It's stupid. It's above and beyond dumb. Valerio says, I have a serious question. In Commander, we have Sylvan Primordial Band, which just ramps, and it's not a commander, but we have this absurdly powerful Commander Legal. I don't know what you have a question, but we have it seems like you're making a statement. Sylvan Primordial. I guess it's just an unfun card. Was Blade Historian also in the deck? I don't remember the payoffs. Because I never played against this deck in Pioneer. Oh god, attacking creatures you control have double strike. Nasty! Absolutely nasty. Also, Tovolar creates werewolves, so it creates another trigger next turn if the opponent survived the... How did they survive the first one? So, I mean, Winota is just like a removal spell check. Do you have removal? No? Okay, you die. That's basically how Winota works. You just get snap killed. Break your neck. And with that, that's it, people. We went through all the banned cards. I should say, though, maybe Winota one day can get unbanned if the removal in Pioneer gets good enough. Like, it's mana efficient enough. Winota is no fear for Modern because Modern has, like, great removal at 1 mana and, like, instant speed removal and free removal and everything. So if the removal gets good enough, probably you can unban Winota. But at the moment, the removal is clunky and slow, and it's gonna stay jailed. It's gonna go to jail. Winota, enjoy your phone call. It's useless. We've already did the verdict on you. You're gone. Well, anyway, if you love Coffee and MTG, that's it for today. But hey, there's always another show every weekday, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thanks, everyone, for the super chats. And also, if you love Patreon, I'm bringing my Patreon back. I'm sure it's in the description. Yeah, people don't like to become members on YouTube. For some reason, you like Patreon. So, all right, I brought back the Patreon for all of you guys. But thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Because without you guys, I got no show. You know, it'd just be me talking in front of the camera for like an hour. And it would be really sad. But you guys make the show what it is every morning. So keep brewing up those coffees, and we will keep brewing up the Magic Coffee Crew. Take care, and I'll see you